Going to do an update on the gun and ammunition crisis. The way things have been going for just about a year now, you just get fed up, making another video talking about it, same insane crap. Okay, but I believe it's kind of starting to ease up. And how do I know that? Well, it's just signs that I see. See, I've given up on going to the stores and trying to get powder, primer, all this other stuff. I just face it and say, hey, look, it ain't going to happen. I go on to something else, which I went in and got into my black powder stuff. I got black powder. I got caps. I found all kinds of lead balls and bullets I casted. So once the weather breaks, I'm going to fool around for a few months in that venue, okay? Instead of worrying about paying $1, $1.25 for each round, a 9mm or whatever, stuff you can't find. Or beat my head against the wall running from one side of the state to the other trying to go in and see if they had powder or primers or whatever, It gets tiring. So why am I saying it's easing up? As far as the powder and primer, you might not see that for a while. That's going to be a problem in the future here. But what I have been seeing is I get these emails of them telling me, hey, we have this in stock. There's several major companies, Center Fire System, AIM Surplus. They'll send me an email, hey, we got this stuff in stock again. And it's usually ammo, 9mm. They'll get a shipment of steel case, 7.62 by 39. I've seen 40 mil, 45. And generally, the prices are quite high. Some of the places that are sending me emails, 9mm ammo, reloaded 9mm ammo was 80 cents a round. That's remanufactured. Factory stuff, which used to be $8, $10 a box, was $1.20 a round, depending on type of ammo. Any kind of specialty ammo with a special bullet, you're going to pay. Okay? So that's kind of the standard. Then whatever you get from gun shows, flea markets, outright banditry, anything goes. And then whatever's on the gun broker or the gun auctions, that's another, insanity. So it looks like I said, we're getting caught up. And the reason is because you have to look at what's going on with people. Okay, if you want to know, instead of giving you this whole thing about manufacturing processes, this and that, you want to know the cause for this crisis. A simple, easy explanation is get up and go look in a damn mirror, because it's the people that are causing this. Okay, and what's causing it also is the outside factors that are driving the people. Okay, and there's numerous, it's numerous stuff. First of all, the situation with number one, the government is the number one main factor, and always has been in the past and now. Everyone's terrified that they're going to pass a law, outlaw stuff, all this other stuff, or tell them it's illegal to manufacture. Whether they can't pass a law banning guns, well, they're going to pass a law restricting ammunition. Okay, the backdoor way. And this is what causes the panic, and people just don't know. And now the current situation with total chaos in the government. Also the health issue, which is a tool they are using to create the chaos. And then the state-sponsored terrorism, which is what another thing that's driving people, and people are right. People go, hey, while they had these violent protests and people were harassed and beaten in the streets and all this other stuff, but you don't see no one being arrested, or these organizations still go on and do this. This is a tool. This is in the global war. Okay, they're using these tools against us. And what it does is, right now, just like anyone, you can't believe the media. You can't believe anything you're told. It's quite obvious that the government has gone from kind of dysfunctional into a total state of chaos where nobody knows what the hell's going on or what's going to happen. They're using this health crisis as another thing to crush, destroy all businesses, not so much firearms or ammunition, but restaurants, bars, everything. They're destroying the economy, which is increasing the amount of violence. Okay, so there's a lot of factors driving people for different reasons. Some people are just terrified and want to defend themselves and didn't really have a gun, which added on. Some people don't want to be inconvenienced. Guys like at the range, you want to go out, you want to shoot. Once a week or every other week, go out for the afternoon, shoot your pistol, and you want to use it. So you need ammo. And when you go out and fire a couple hundred rounds, and it's $200 to go out and do a little target practice, what the hell? So you got people there. Then you got the opportunist. See, all these people show up, and that's the ones that go and buy cases and cases of the stuff and then mark it up, try to sell it on the online auctions or whatever. So you got a lot of weird things going on at one time. Okay. Some of the things driving it are real and do affect people. I'm not saying, not to worry, but you got to take a step back and kind of look at the whole situation before you get crazy. First of all, I went and bought a pound of gunpowder. A friend of mine went there, got the last one, and it was $30 with the tax and everything, so it was $32. Which generally, when I would buy powder before all this, it was about $25, $28. So it's gone up $5 a pound. And this is what, when the smoke settles and everything's back to normal, expect everything to be up 10, 15%. It's already going to happen. But when you go online, and I can tell from the bottle and the cap that this powder was manufactured over 5 years ago, and they're selling a pound of the same gunpowder, which is 5 years old and been sitting around. Somebody had it on a shelf, and now this guy's going out and putting $125, $130 on the pound of powder. What I've been telling everybody to do is don't buy it. You may not be able to go out and test a hand load or do your hobby or shoot your gun, but when you do that, when you pay that, when you're paying $185 for 1,000 primers when you should be paying 28 or 30, okay, you're just creating this environment, okay? And I know people are going to argue with me, well, that's all I got, and if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, okay? But as you see, I think the thing tapering off, see, because we're hit with that group of people that have a gun but have no ammo. And it's more defense for the uncertainty and all these strange things that have been happening this past year. These people are buying anything they can at any amount because they have no ammo. Well, as time goes on, they eventually procure something at an inflated price or whatever and have something. Okay? So this group of people, I think, is what's causing it. They're fading out of the equation. Okay? So now when ammunition comes up, you're probably still going to get people snapping this stuff up instantly, especially in cases. And that's going to be your guys buying it, trying to mark it up. But if people stop paying inflated prices and just back off for a while, okay, that will keep them, once they can't sell it and make anything, they'll stop buying cases of ammo and marking it up 20, 30% or whatever. And then the supply system will get back to where it's normal again. And yes, the demand was astronomical. I was reading an article Hornaday, the guy that runs Hornaday, was in there. And he said what happened was a year ago, beginning of the year, I guess it's the son, his father was the manager. He said that we were producing ammunition and we had an excess of it. They had a bunch of it sitting there in the warehouse. And he was being told, what you're doing, you're endangering the company's bottom line by stacking this crap up, and it's not selling. Okay, so you produce something, it costs you so much money to buy the material, and it costs you so much money to produce it, package it, and get it ready, and it's sitting on a shelf, and if it don't move, like in 3-4 months, okay, you start losing money as you run the company. Well, he said that once April and that rolled around, within 90 days, they had a surplus of stuff that wasn't being sold or distributed or anything, just lying there, a fairly good amount, to where they were starting to argue about how this is going to affect the company's overall profitability. Within 90 days, okay, the warehouse was empty. And it gotten to a point to where whatever that factory produces, or whatever his factories produce on, like today, tomorrow by 10 o'clock it's been loaded on a truck and it's gone. There's nothing sitting still. Alright, but the man did bring up several other factors that nobody thinks of. He says with the health crisis and all these factories being closed, number one, they had guidelines to stay open. If somebody tested positive, they were sending a bunch of people home. They had to be quarantined for 14 days. So your workforce is sporadically, by law or by the mandates, not there. So you've lowered your workforce. You're hit there. You don't have men running machinery. Machineries don't run. Nothing gets produced. Then materials. He says number one is the health crisis has hit everything across the board. Truck drivers, mining, all this other stuff, getting the factories that produce the raw materials. Okay, so that's sporadic. Then they're getting it in. And he says they're getting it in to the point where they got no room to store the raw materials. And then it's kind of sporadic. Then it got to the point ammunition must be shipped in a certain type of cardboard box. There's a specification for it to be handled safely. The cardboards run out. The manufacturer of the boxes is falling behind, and he doesn't have the specific needed boxes to put his product in. So he had to go and find another source. So you see this is ongoing, and like he said, whatever they produce in a day doesn't stay in the building more than a few hours. So whatever's done, packaged and ready to go, is gone. There's nothing sitting still. So eventually, and that's why people tell you it's not going to calm down sometime next year, but eventually it is, and it is catching up. Because I've gotten emails about ammo, and I've also gotten emails from like AIM Surplus where they had AR-15s. That's another thing, another popular item. You're seeing AR-15s again. Rock bottom price was like $3.95 for a plain Jane flat top AR. I think AIM Surplus had an email where they were $580. I'm just going to say $580. They were under $600. So that isn't a bad jump. $150, $175 more than before. So that's coming down, and you're seeing more uppers and parts and stuff starting to get caught up. To where you guys that like to build them, you're starting to see more guns come in. I haven't been to a gun shop, so I did go in to Academy Sports, and I mean, there was nothing in there. And I asked the fellow about a .22 pistol, And that was after the January rush because of the political things. I mean, they wiped out every retail store around here. He said, come back in a couple months. He goes, we might have something. He goes, it's sporadic. Whatever shows up, shows up. You know, he goes, I can't tell you. Then gun shows. A lot of that depends on where you are, because I brought that up during a live chat, and there were some people, some states have had gun shows for months already, and my state, it's really strange, because the governor is more or less, you know, I don't know how it works. If you go to Raleigh, they're having gun shows. I've never, it's a 2-hour drive. I haven't went there, I haven't checked them out, but the gun shows are there. Winston-Salem, they're canceled. Greensboro, the city government has done something, and plus the building used for the gun shows has been commandeered because of the health crisis as an immunization center. So there's no venues. There's no gun show, no boat show, no RV shows, or the hot tub. Hot Tub Spa used to be another show they'd run in there along with the gun shows. All of that's been canceled. So it's not just the gun shows. But they did something to where I believe the gun shows will not be coming back ever to that venue again. But on the other hand, there is that guy that runs the small gun shows, 6-shooters. Every weekend he's somewhere in this state running a small venue gun show. And he does come around to the outskirts of Greensboro once every 2 or 3 months. So he's on a schedule. And he's down in Asheboro, which is a 40-minute drive for me. So there are gun shows I can go to. Granted, they're small. They're not the large venues, but I think they had one down in Fayetteville. But to drive the 2 hours or so to get there, and the venue before all of this was so small, okay, because nobody was selling anything, and the restrictions, you can't have no reloading supplies or anything else. It really wasn't worth going there, and the actual amount of vendors from when I used to go there, that's another thing. Gun shows have been kind of fading and getting smaller because of sales restrictions, and they keep raising the price for you to rent a table. You know, the show was like half of the vendors that was there at one time. So it's not worth the long trip. You know, if it was back the way it was, full with a lot of different people in there and a lot of different things, it'd be interesting, but it's not. So kind of goes both ways there. So I won't be going to gun shows and setting up anymore, and if I do go, I'll go to these small venues on a weekend just to see what's there. And even when he runs them, it's people with, you know, ammunition. A couple dealers I've known sell surplus stuff, but you're not going there for any bargains. You're not going to find anything reasonable at any of those shows, I'll put it that way. But it is a gun show. You do get to run into all the people I know and sit and talk and that. And I buy something, some magazines or, you know, whatever. I may find something, so it's still worth going. As long as it, you know, doesn't take me over an hour to get there. So that's about it. The only thing I can tell you guys is just hang on, wait. Don't get crazy. Don't spend a lot of money. You know, if you have to pay over, you know, inflated prices because you know you want to load 100 rounds of ammo and that, but I wouldn't be going and really buying a ton of stuff. And unfortunately, because I got to make another video about some of these bills being proposed with gun control laws, it's really a hard call. I mean, it just is getting somewhat caught up. And the reason is, like I said, people went plunked down a ton of money, got that. So this one faction is gone. And so that's why you see it easing. As for where they will have something where you can just go to the store, or maybe it'll be in there for more than 20 minutes if they do get restocked, I don't know how far off that is, but it looks like we're getting out of the hole. You know, keep your fingers crossed something else doesn't happen to reinflate the panic again, you know. Alright, stay tuned, guys.